Stop dulu, jangan langsung share dulu ya. Karena konten yang kamu baca ada kemungkinan kalau kontennya belum valid loh. Apabila disebarkan akan memungkinkan menjadi berita hoax. Hoax adalah informasi palsu, berita bohong, atau fakta yang dipelintir atau direkayasa untuk tujuan lelucon hingga topik serius seperti politik. Biasanya, konten hoax berisikan info yang membacanya merasa setuju, karena unsur pesannya bombastis, sensasional, dan Cyberman pernah dapat informasi seperti ini. Stop dulu, jangan langsung share dulu ya. Karena konten yang kamu baca ada kemungkinan kalau kontennya belum valid loh. Apabila disebarkan akan memungkinkan menjadi berita hoax. Hoax adalah informasi
pada
atau fakta yang dipelintir atau direkayasa untuk tujuan lelucon.
Kemungkinan modifikasi untuk sebuah kamera operator
Biasanya, konten hoax berisikan info yang membacanya merasa setuju, karena unsur pesannya bombastis, sensasional, dan membuat pembaca merasa ingin membagikan informasi tersebut. Yuk, kenali ciri-ciri kontennya. 2. Meminta infonya disebarluaskan semasif mungkin. 3. Menyebabkan kecemasan, kebencian, hingga pemusuhan. 4. Judulnya sangat provokatif, menghakimi, dan menyembunyikan fakta data. 5. Huruf kapital, huruf tebal, banyak tanda seru, seolah darurat, dan tanpa menyebutkan sumber. Kalau kamu masih dapat pesan atau info seperti ciri-ciri tersebut, jangan langsung disebarkan ya. Cek dulu kebenarannya. Yuk pikir sebelum share, ciptakan ruang cyber aman untuk Indonesia nyaman tanpa hoax.
Cara melaporkan konten hoax ke BSSN. Apabila menemukan berita ataupun foto hoax di dunia maya, sebaiknya kita laporkan kepada pihak terkait, salah satunya BSSN. Kita bisa melaporkan melalui email ke bantuan70@bssn.go.id. Pengguna yang melapor diharapkan untuk melampirkan bukti foto atau capture konten yang dilaporkan. Atau bisa melalui media sosial BSSN, yaitu Facebook, Twitter, dan Instagram. Ayo berantas hoax dan jadilah pahlawan kebenaran informasi di sekitar kita.
Saat melamar kerja, terkadang banyak dari kita yang tidak menyadari ada hal lain yang menyebabkan kita tidak memenuhi syarat diterima bekerja di suatu perusahaan. Apakah itu? Salah satunya jejak digital yang tercipta atas segala perilaku digital Anda. Di era digital ini, siapapun bisa dalam waktu singkat mengecek jejak digital orang yang baru dikenal hanya dengan menggunakan mesin pencari di handphone. Jika sudah mempunyai riwayat jejak digital buruk seperti unggah negatif, mengumbar data pribadi di ruang siber, bahkan gegabah dalam memberikan informasi, hampir tidak mungkin Anda dengan mudah menghapusnya. Karena jejak digital itu kejam, kawan. Untuk itu, penting berpikir ulang sebelum posting sesuatu di media sosial pribadi. Unggah hal-hal yang positif, tidak mengumbar data pribadi, dan tidak menyebar hoax. Mari kita ukir jejak digital dengan penuh kebaikan. Jaga ruang siber kita dengan terus share yang baik.
Indonesia adalah negara dengan ribuan pulau tersebar di wilayahnya dengan beragam suku bangsa yang mendiami seluruh kepulauannya. Saat ini Indonesia menjadi salah satu negara yang berkembang dengan cepat. Salah satunya adalah bidang komunikasi yang membuat masyarakat saling terhubung. Saling berbagi informasi dan silaturahmi adalah salah satunya. Dalam berbagai bentuk dari foto, tulisan, dan sebagainya. Penyebaran informasi ini tentu saja menimbulkan masalah baru, yaitu hoax. Menurut survei Mastel, masyarakat telematika Indonesia tentang dampak hoax di masyarakat, sebanyak 61,50% responden merasa sangat terganggu oleh foto-foto atau gambar hoax. Sebanyak 81,90% responden setuju bahwa hoax mengganggu hubungan antar masyarakat, dan sebanyak 76,40% responden setuju bahwa hoax sangat mengganggu pembangunan di Indonesia. Berdasarkan data tersebut, mari kita semua selalu cek kebenaran informasi dan tidak terjebak untuk membuat atau menyebarkan informasi hoax. Ayo berantas hoax dan jadilah pahlawan kebenaran informasi di sekitar kita.
Lagi heboh info virus COVID-19, orang-orang berlomba untuk menyebarkan informasi terupdate tentang virus yang lagi viral itu. Pasien COVID-19 bertambah satu di Indonesia. Share. Info baru nih, dari gigitan nyamuk, virus COVID-19 bisa tertular. Bahaya, harus di-share. Ada info lagi, berjemur bisa menyembuhkan virus COVID-19. Share.
Wah, ada info lagi. Share. Tunggu. Udah yakin informasinya valid? Cyberman, jangan lupa ya untuk pikir sebelum share.
Jangan sampai info yang kamu sebar tanpa dicek terlebih dahulu membuat kamu terjerat dalam Pasal 28 Ayat 1 Undang-Undang ITE.
Setiap orang dengan sengaja dan tanpa hak menyebarkan berita bohong dan menyesatkan yang mengakibatkan kerugian konsumen dalam transaksi elektronik dipidana dengan pidana penjara paling lama 6 tahun dan atau denda paling banyak 1 miliar rupiah. Masih berani share info belum valid ke grup chat kamu? Hati-hati ya, niat baik mau kasih solusi, malah berujung hukuman berat.
Yuk pikir sebelum share, ciptakan ruang cyber aman untuk Indonesia nyaman tanpa hoaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the OIC-CERT webinar 2022 in the topic of promoting electronic certificate in digital transformation. My name is Fatia Mustika and I am one of the person from the Id-SIRTII CC Secretariat, which is the National CSIRT from Indonesia, managed by the Directorate of the Cybersecurity Operation under the National Cyber and Crypto Agency or NCCA. NCCA itself holds a deputy chair position in the organization of the Islamic Cooperation Computer Emergency Response Team known as OIC-CERT. We are responsible for conducting one of the OIC-CERT Key Performance Indicators or KPI in the capacity building strategic pillar to raise the security awareness and skills development among OIC-CERT members. To achieve that KPI, today we hold this webinar from 2 p.m. until 4 p.m. UTC+7 and is broadcasted live on our official YouTube channel. Now, before we begin our main event, I will read the agenda for today. First is opening, which is happening now. After that, we will continue our agenda to opening remarks by the head of the Id-SIRTII CC itself. And then we will introduce to you the speakers that are here today to present the knowledge to the participants. We have 3 speakers today. The first speaker is from National Cyber and Crypto Agency, and he will share about the regulation and urgency of using electronic certificate in Indonesia. Our second speaker is from Ministry of Finance of Indonesia, and he will share the use of digital certificate in central government. And the third one, our speaker is from Banyuwangi region, and he will share the use of digital certificate in local government. After we have finished our knowledge sharing, we will have Q&A session or question and ask session, and you can ask the speakers by drop your questions on the chat box. After that, we will have our final event, which is summary and closing. Also, I will read the rules of our event today. The first one is please keep in mind that you have to keep your microphone on mute during the sessions. And also, if you have many questions to ask to the speakers, you can drop your questions and anything on the chat box. And the third one is all participants are expected to fill out the attendance list and a survey on the implementation of this webinar. Only participants who complete the webinar and also fill out the survey will get the e-certificate that will be sent through the emails. We will wait the participants to fill out the attendance list and also the survey for 2 hours after the webinar ends. Now we will move into our next agenda, which is the opening remarks from the head of the Id-SIRTII CC Indonesia, Mr. Taufik Arianto. Mr. Taufik, the time is yours. Mr. Taufik Arianto, are you ready to share the opening remarks?
Okay. Good afternoon, Fatia. I'm sorry for the delay. Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let we thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala who has given us many mercies and blessings so we can join this webinar. On behalf of the Acting Director of the Cybersecurity Operation of National Cyber and Crypto Agency in Indonesia, I would like to say thanks to all speakers and everyone joining this OIC-CERT webinar. Secondly, please let me introduce myself. My name is Taufik Arianto, as a point of contact of the National CSIRT of Indonesia, or well known as the Id-SIRTII, that since 2019 is operated under the National Cyber and Crypto Agency or NCCA. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia as OIC-CERT Deputy Chair we have the responsibility to conduct capacity building strategy pillar on focus on security awareness and skill development between OIC-CERT member. Well, let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the OIC-CERT webinar with the theme Promoting Electronic Certificate in Transformation Digital. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start this webinar, I would like to say thanks for the Id-SIRTI Secretariat who have helped organize this webinar. We'll also say thank you to the board member of OIC-CERT, including the OIC-CERT Secretariat, who are supporting member program, maintain the operation, and encourage to the member to participate in the Cybersecurity International Forum actively. And on behalf of the NCCA, I deliver my grateful for all the speakers in this webinar. First, Mr. Jonathan Galatarigan from the Elektronik Certificate Authority Center in NCCA. Good afternoon, Mr. Jonathan. Second, we have Mr. Azharuddin Priyotomo from the Ministry of Finance in Indonesia. Good afternoon, Mr. Azharuddin. And the third, we have Mr. Tri Jatmiko from the Banyuwangi Regency. Good afternoon, Mr. Jatmiko.
Good afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, the era of digitalization brings us to the cyberspace and change the people behavior. Digitalization has control to all aspects of human life. Almost all existing services are run together electronic device, starting from the information technology, operation technology, and Internet of Things system. Moreover, its impact to the public service is driven to change from the conventional to the digital. Public service require a strategic step to cut time and simplicity flow of administration service to be more easier and faster. It is necessary to use electronic certificate to ensure the efficient and success exchange of information, so that electronic certificates are one of the innovation in the era of digitalization. Today, I'm very honored that we have three speakers here to share their experience about implementation of digital certificate on government service area. Finally, I officially open the OIC-CERT webinar with the theme Promoting Electronic Certificate in Digital Transformation. Please enjoy the webinar and get the additional knowledge to support your duties in the workplace. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Taufik Arianto, for the opening remarks. Now we move to the next agenda, which is a brief introduction from the three speakers that have attended the event today. We have to know the speakers before we get the materials for them. So our first panelist or our first speaker is Mr. Jonathan Gerhard from National Cyber and Crypto Agency. Mr. Jonathan Gerhard got his bachelor degree in applied science from STSN or Sekolah Tinggi Sandi Negara in 2007, and then he also joined several trainings related to the electronic certificate, such as CCNA training, CCNP training, EGBCA certified engineer, Shield certified system engineer, Shield certified system developer, certified data center professional, certified OpenStack administrator, certified Kubernetes administrator, and also he had the experience as a trainer. Some of those are public infrastructure training on Ministry of Finance of Indonesia, computer network design training, and also asymmetric cryptography training. Mr. Jonathan Gerhard is now the head of Electronic Certification Authority Center in National Cyber and Crypto Agency. Mr. Jonathan Gerhard, hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jonathan.
Yeah.
And then we have our second speaker, Mr. Azharuddin Priyotomo from Ministry of Finance of Indonesia. Mr. Azharuddin got his bachelor degree in Information Technology from President University on 2009. He also got his master's degree in data science from Worcester Polytechnic Institute in 2016. Besides that, He also has many leadership and teamwork experience. Those are being the team member of Scientific Data Cloud Proof of Concept project at Pfizer, Groton, Connecticut. He also being the technical lead of ePrime mobile apps for common services in Ministry of Finance of Indonesia. He is also being the product manager of eKemenkeu, Office Automation of Ministry of Finance of Indonesia. And now he is the head of application design and development subdivision at PUSINTEK, Ministry of Finance of Indonesia. Hello, Mr. Azharuddin. Good afternoon.
Hello, Ms. Fatia. Good afternoon.
And then our third speaker is Mr. Trijatmiko from Banyuwangi Regency. He got his bachelor degree of forest management from Gadjah Mada University, Yogyakarta. He also got his master degree of economics planning and public policy program from National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, Japan. And he also got his master degree of urban and regional planning from Gadjah Mada University, Yogyakarta. He also experienced in lecturer for forest management in Faculty of Agriculture UMM Malang from 1999 until 2004. He also experienced in Forestry, Agriculture, and Food Agency in Banyuwangi districts as a civil servant from 2005 until 2009. He also experienced in civil servant at Economic Sector Data and Reporting Development Planning Agency in Banyuwangi district from 2015 until 2017. And from 2017 until now, he is the head of Statistics and Crypto Department of Communication, Information, and Technology in Banyuwangi Regency. Hello, Mr. Trijatmiko. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Mbak. Very nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Mr. Jatmiko. So now, after we have known our three speakers for today, we will begin the webinar by the first speaker, who is Mr. Jonathan Gerhard from National Cyber and Crypto Agency. Mr. Jonathan, the time is yours.
Thank you, Fatia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for each of and every one of us being gathered here at the OIC-CERT webinar. My name is Jonathan Gerhard Tarigan. I'm the head of Elektronik Certification Authority Center of National CSIRT and Crypto Agency of Indonesia. And it's such an honor for me to speak on behalf of the organizer. Now, in today's topics, we would go through how regulation and urgency of using the electronic certificate in the Indonesian government. I hope this subject will help you to see the implementation of the regulation regarding electronic certificate in digital signature. Now, let's start with the regulation. Next slide, please. Next. Now, the electronic certificate has been known in the Information and Transaction Electronic Law number 19 of 2016. By means, electronic certificate is digital certificate containing digital signature and in identity indicating the legal subject of status of the parties in an electronic transaction issued by a certification authority. Now, this law is represent how the electronic certificate is mandated to be issued by a certification authority. Means it's help to recognize digital identity in the era of electronic transaction. While the certificate authority itself is a legal entity that works as a trusted party, a third trusted party, which is provide and audit the digital certificate. In addition of the service, the electronic certificate is also used by variety of electronic means service like electronic signature, electronic seal, electronic timestamp, SSL certificate, and e-preservation. Next slide. Regarding the regulation, Indonesian government also have established presidential or minister regulation related to electronic certificate and digital signature. Now, when we see the law of in law number 19 of 2016, as the amendment law of the number 11 of 2008 on electronic information and transaction, which containing an electronic signature and electronic certificate policy on Article 5 through Article 14. Then we see in the Article 5, electronic information and or
I think Mr. Jonathan is having problem with the connections right now. We will try to reach him again. Please wait a moment. Also, while we wait for Mr. Jonathan to come back, if you have any question regarding the matters, you can directly drop your questions on the chat box. We will wait for your questions. Thank you.
sorry, Fatia, for the interrupt.
Yeah, it's okay, Mr. Jonathan. You can continue.
You can hear my voice clear, right?
Yeah, I can hear you very clear.
Okay. Now let's continue. Now, regarding the law in article number 5, we see that information and or electronic document as a legal evidence. So we can use all the digital transformation. We can enhance all the information technology as an enabler to make all the document that we all produce in physical to be reproduced as an electronic document. So the Article 5 is allowing the government to make digital document or electronic document as means as the physical document in the as a legal and valid evidence. In the article number 14, we see electronic certificate or electronic signature shall have a lawful legal force as long as it's following the requirement that be needed by the law to prove the electronic signature. By means, some of that need to prove the electronic signature creation data shall be associated only with the signature or the signatories. Next, the signature creation data by time, the electronic signing shall be only in the power of signatories or signers. And then any alteration of the electronic signature occurs after the signing time is knowable. Any alteration of the electronic information associated with the electronic signature after the signing time is knowable. There are certain methods to adopt to identify the identity of the signatories and signer. And then last one there are certain methods to demonstrate that our signatories or signer have given consent at the associated electronic information. Now, other than the law, the government also makes some government regulation number 71 of 2019 regards to organization of electronic system and transaction, which contains certification authority and its services in Chapter 5. In Chapter 5, Certificate Authority is an organization that acts validate identities and of entities and bind them to cryptographic keys through the issuance of electronic document known as digital certificate. Now we know all about this as a part of the public key information system in PKI system, right? And then on the under Article 57, paragraph 3, the digital certificate is known as electronic certificate in Indonesia, has several services such as digital signature, issue, timestamping, and SSL certificate. Now, let's jump through the urgency of the digital certificate and electronic certificate. Now, let me see. Next slide, please. Okay. I haven't seen any slide. Fatia, could you help me with the next slide?
Yes, Mr. Jonathan, we are working on it now.
Okay. So the presidential regulation of number 95 of 2018 also concerning about the electronic-based government system, which is include the implementation of digital signature and the use of digital certificate, have also drive us in the central government or the local government also to be able to conduct our service in electronic. So by the means of the PP 95 of 2018, we also now have the ability to provide our service in fully electronic. That's so we can transform. We can truly feel the digital transformation in government services. Now, regarding with the urgency of the use of electronic certificate in supporting administration process in Indonesia, you see, I think we will go through slide number 9. Now, certificate number 9, please. Next slide. Okay, next. Okay, now let me talk about the urgency of electronic certificate in supporting digital administration process in Indonesia. So in Indonesia, the increase of effectiveness and efficiency of electronic-based government system is a must, because in the era of pandemic, we saw how many and how the pandemic impact the government in regarding how they work, how they make their services, and also how the government as a pioneer of making the pandemic is controllable. So the government start to making its system to be able to be producing services in an electronic to increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of electronic-based government system. Now, from the legal protection aspect, we know that the digital certificate and the electronic signature is helping us to be able to produce document in secure manner. That means the document produced by the government services can be protected from altered message or also from manipulation. So the government can create trust in the document produced by all the government services. Now the information security guarantee aspect also regarding to the how the document is distributed. Now, if we say in the law of electronic transaction, now every government bodies need to protect its document and services regarding to protect the information security. Next. Now, this is the area I think would be we can see through how the government bodies start to implement system and increase the effectiveness and the efficiency of electronic-based government system. Now, if we see in our country, most of the services regarding for the identity is held by the Home Affairs Ministry. Now, the Home Affairs Ministry also provides service like our family registration, and then birth certificate, and then the identity card, and also lots of services. Now, 11 out of 13 those services are regarding to the electronic document. Before the pandemic and after the pandemic, the Ministry of Home Affairs also have transformed their system. So when the pandemic arrived, they have been services that using the electronic signature in the document that provided by the Ministry of Home Affairs, such as family register certificate, birth certificate, and death certificate, and other of documents have been provided and been signed with digital signature provided by the National Cyber and Crypto Agency of Indonesia. Now, regarding the accelerating food and drug registration, for the food and drug registration also have been impacted in the pandemic era, so they're able to survive in the pandemic because some of the system have already adopted the digital signature, and in the National Agency of Drug and Food Control, also in the Ministry of Health, regarding to the certificate of some of the health industry. Now, for the licensing officer, it's also have have also accelerating the license process at the investment offices and one-stop integrated services. So we know in Indonesia we have a ministry regarding to the investment and the one-stop services in Indonesia. So we also have in National Investment Office and one-stop integrated service to make all the document produced being secured by the digital signature. Next slide, please. Other than that, some of the government bodies are also now is dealing with war with the hoax, and we also providing the information security guarantee aspect to be the enabler of the trust of every document that was provided by the government. So in some case, there are a false document in the public. So now, if we use digital signature, we can guarantee that if there's any false document or there is a modification regarding the document, we can check the guarantee of the document to see whose or whom organization agency has been producing those documents, and make sure that those documents are not a false or hoax document. Next. Now, the existence of policy regulates the electronic certificate in public in legal aspect. In Article 5, Paragraph 1, the ITE law, which stated that electronic information and or electronic document and all the printouts, therefore, are a valid legal evidence. So I think that's a statement that we should aware that our government is trying to digitally transform. So if the article said that all the electronic and all the documents produced and all it prints out are valid legal evidence, so there's no excuse that we don't use any protection for our document like electronic signature, and there is no excuse that we are running away from digital transformation, because it's time to change. Then I think this is the point of digital transformation, is making all possible by IT. That's I think that's all for my topics, and I would like to give it back to Ms. Fatia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan, for the insightful presentation. Now, after you have delivered the presentation, I know that electronic certificate is really accelerating the administration process within one organization to the others. It is effective and very safe because it can guarantee the originality or the integrity of the Thank you once again, Mr. Jonathan, for the presentation. Now we move into our second speaker, Mr. Azharuddin Priyotomo, from Ministry of Finance of Indonesia as the Head of Application Design and Development Subdivision at PUSINTEK. Mr. Azharuddin Priyotomo, the time is yours.
All right, thank you, Ms. Fatia. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. First of all, thank you for BSSN and everyone for having me in this OIC-CERT webinar. So today I will deliver a talk about the role of electronic certificate in supporting digital transformation in my home institution, especially in Ministry of Finance of Republic of Indonesia. Is the slide already showing, Ms. Fatia?
Yes, now it has shown, Mr.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so today I will deliver a talk about the role of electronic certificate in supporting digital transformation in the Ministry of Finance of Republic of Indonesia. Next. So you can skip this part, you already introduced me in a nice way. All right, so the theme of this talk is implementation of electronic certificate in a central government. So this talk will be divided into 3 parts, actually. So first I will talk about 19, an application which became one of the early adopters of electronic certificates at Ministry of Finance. And second, I will explain the interconnections of electronic certificate with other various information systems at Ministry of Finance. And finally, I will draw a story of how electronic certificate plays quite a significant role in supporting the Ministry of Finance digital transformation. Next. All right, so let's jump to the first part, the implementation of electronic certificate in 19. Next. Right. So what is NADIN? So NADIN is actually an information system in Ministry of Finance used for administering government official letters in a fully digital format. So there are several main features in NADIN, such as composing letters with predefined templates. So the systems also provides in-app editor. So the user in Ministry of of Finance can just start typing the letter in the app instead of opening Word editor and upload it to the system. It also has real-time tracking letter position, so the user can know where the letter is now. Is it already signed? Is it already delivered? So it's basically the user has a real-time tracking. And the next feature, it has digital signature. This is the most important part, which is with the electronic certificate provided by eSign BSSN. And the next feature, it is integrated with other apps. For example, it's integrated with our HR systems. So whenever there is a change in employees' position in organization, it will be automatically synchronized. And the last one, it's available in web and mobile version, so the user can access it anywhere and anytime. So Nadine is quite massive in terms of the number of users. It's being used by all the employees in Ministry of Finance, with total user around, I think, 80,000 users. We also record that the highest concurrent users is at 70,000 users at the same time. So you can imagine like 17,000 users hit a system at the same time, right? And in terms of user level, our own Ministry of Finance has been actively using this app since the pandemic hit 2 years ago, I think, 2020. Next. So this is a glimpse of Nadine's features. Like I said, the user can choose predefined templates. So the apps provide, I think, around 17 or 18 templates. They can utilize in-app editor to type their letters inside the app. And then they can sign the letter by just inputting PIN numbers, and done. The output is a PDF document with electronic certificate on it. There will also be a QR code on the bottom right. When the user scans the QR code, it will download the PDF document directly from our server. So that way, the integrity of the document will always be guaranteed. Next. So this is statistics of Nadine's transaction growth. From 2019 to 2022, there are more than 186 million dispositions, 39 million incoming documents, and 19 million outgoing documents. In terms of signing activities, there were around 40,000 signing per month and 26,000 signing per day. So it's quite massive implementation of certificate or electronic certificate. Next. So that's an overview of Nadine, an early adopter of electronic certificate in Ministry of Finance. Next, there are various information systems other than Nadine, which are already interconnected with electronic certificate. There are about, I think, 16 across department in Ministry of Finance. One application in 2008 and one application in 2009 until right now in 2022, there are 4 applications. In total, there are 16 applications which already interconnected with electronic certificate from BSSN. Next. Right, and for those 16 applications, most of them produce administration documents such as reports, letters, and certificates. But there are also 1 or 2 systems which produce documents related to contracts and payments. It's more like confidential documents, I guess. Next. Right, among those 16 information systems, there are actually 2 types of electronic certificates. One is implemented in PDF documents, which is more popular, and Nadine also used this kind of electronic certificate. And the other one is in binary file format. Next. All right, so this is the statistic of electronic certificates which have already been issued in Ministry of Finance, which already hits the number of 87,000 certificates. So the left chart you can see here, it depicts daily statistics from the past, I guess, 4 weeks. We can see there are at least 60 certificates issued per day. This consists of new and renewal certificate. And the right chart here shows the number of service tickets with regard to electronic certificates in 2 years. We can see that there's a spike in June 2021, I'm sorry. At that time, it's actually the first time implementation of signing employee performance contracts by all employees. So that's why there is a spike in this particular year. Next. So the final part, I will explain how electronic certificate plays a role in the Ministry of Finance digital transformation. So we understand that digital transformation is a journey, right? Starting from 2010, where we already built several web applications, but it's mainly transforming from manual to digital format. So it's only digitized version. Then starting around 2019, we streamlined our business process to be more simplified, and we even put the new way of working in regulations. So it's more more simplified, more streamlined, and more seamless process. In this process of digital transformations, we also define our systems as 3 kinds of services, which is common services, core services, and collaboration tools. There are a bunch of application in certain kinds, such as in core application, we have Sakti, we have Chesa, we have DGP, portal, we have Span, and each of these applications, they also implement electronic certificate. Next. All right, so this are the summary of our digital transformation direction in each area. In business process area, after digital transformation, we move from complex and hierarchical to more agile and simplified process business. In HR, we are more focused in performing analytical and productive work instead of just doing clerical work. And digital transformation also brings time and budgeting and delivery efficiency. We can significantly reduce budget allocation for printing, for example, and mailing service. And in terms of ways of working, the digital transformation also makes it possible for us to work anywhere, from home, from mall, for example. And the last one, in information security, which is highly related to electronic certificate, we can have more secure documents with digital signatures, which guarantee the content integrity of the document. Next. So this is a kind of a prediction or forecast, which is done by one of our team in database, which shows comparison that after digital transformation starting from 2019, the budget allocation for printing, office supplies, and mailing delivery fee is declining significantly. So this is like great news for budget saving. Next. And this is kind of like a rough calculation of how much we can save our budget after we implement our first example of application Nadine and its electronic certificate. The upper table shows that for the entire ministry, for the least scenario, we can save at least 12 billion rupiahs. And the lower table shows that for one department, we can save up to 396 million rupiahs. So it's quite a big efficiency just for one app. So you can imagine if we implement it to many apps, we can save more budget or money. Next. All right. Finally, we came to the last slide. If the previous slide explained the significant impact of implementing electronic certificates, we do have several challenges while we implement those electronic certificates. The challenges include registering a large number of employees. We have 80,000 employees at that time. So which also spread out in diverse locations. So we form of register authority team from central to regional levels to help regarding this issue. And the next challenge would be how to handle expired certificates. So because each certificate has expiration for, I think, like 2 years, I guess. So in tackling this issue, we develop a feature which is notification feature. Whenever the certification expired, then the user will get notified. So we will not be bombarded by question from user why we cannot use our certificate anymore. And the last one is how we handle whenever there is a system or infrastructure incidents. So this particular issue, we closely coordinate with BSSN. Thank you for that. And we handle, whenever incident happens, we handle it with a great coordination. So aside from those challenges, there are 3 potential improvements that I think we can do by implementing electronic certificates. The first one is, I know this is just an opinions, right? So the first one is implementation in the transaction or data level. So what we've done so far is attaching certificate into document. So, but it's going to be great if we can utilize it in a data or transaction or database level, because right now we generate a lot of documents, right? So it costs a lot of storage as well. So if we can actually implement electronic certificate in a transaction level, that would be great as well. And the second would be implementation of other types of electronic certificates, such as in JSON or XML formats. Right now, we only implement it in PDF formats. And as we know, the last one, as we know, there is more than one legitimate certificate issuer in Indonesia, maybe in other country as well, right? So in Indonesia, there is BSSN and PPPT. So it's going to be great if there is an interoperability between those electronic certificate issuers, because there is no guarantee, right? If in the next future, our apps will be interconnected with each other. So it's going to be great if they can communicate each other the certificates. So I think that's all. I hope from the little things that I shared today can be beneficial to all of the attendants. Thank you so much. I return it back to Ms. Fatia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azharuddin, for the insightful presentation. After knowing the presentation that has been delivered by you, I see that Ministry of Finance already digitalized the business process, the implementing the electronic certificates, and it really shows that electronic certificates make business process more effective, efficient, and also secure. Also, the most important part is it can save the budget if we see the budget forecasting. However, it also has challenges and mitigation to overcome, but that's can be debatable because we can connect the Ministry of Finance of Indonesia to BSSN if there is something in the future. And now we move into our third speaker today, Mr. Trijatmiko from Banyuwangi Regency. Mr. Trijatmiko, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Fatia Mustika, if I'm not mistaken. Hello, everyone. My name is Trijatmiko, and I'm very pleased that we have the opportunity to share our experience using digital certificate and in Banyuwangi as we are a local government. I should mention about Mr. Jonathan, because the way we can achieve this achievement only supported by BSRA. So thank you for the great coordination. Thank you for the great support. And in general, we thank you for BSSN to make all this achievement happen. Dear the webinar attendee, today I'm not gonna share about how successful I am, how successful digital certificate in Banyuwangi in a very good conditions. No, because that's not what happened in Banyuwangi. Slide, please. Okay, next, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, I have to introduce where is the Banyuwangi before I can explain you about how we implement the digital certificate in Banyuwangi. First of all, we are in the eastern part of the Java. So we have about 3 times larger than average district in East Java. So distance is a real issue in here. The remotest part or the remotest area in Banyuwangi takes about 3 or 4 hours to have the paper documents in Banyuwangi city. The remotest area takes about let's say about 2 hours at least to go to Banyuwangi in the normal ways. So distance is a really matter in here. But on the other hand, we have to provide service in the for the forest or the remotest areas in Banyuwangi. So distance is a crucial issue in here. So we have to choose carefully what technology to be adopted, how we overcome the distance and the large areas to serve the community, to serve the urgent need of the people to have administrative documents. As you can see in the picture that we have about 189 villages and 28 urban villages. Not every part of the village have a good condition, have a good access in internet. But internet is the key factor in here. Internet is the most crucial factor because we're gonna deploy the service using the internet facility. So we have to tackle this problem first before we tackle the other issues. So the keywords in here, we have to choose technology that solve the problem in their level of literacy. We don't have to take the fancy technology. We don't have to, overcome their literacy, not citizen-based, citizen who can serve themselves by using platform like Android or Apple applications, Apple Store applications. Next, please. So our region decided that information technology is the 5th infrastructure after other infrastructure like a road, like a bridges, like any other harbor, something like that. So we have to penetrate the remote areas to bring the government service. In addition, we also provide offline service, offline, not using internet. Because in some areas, they still need us, but they don't have enough or they don't have any internet access. So we bring the remote, we bring the service in their place using offline service. Like in our case, innovation like Bunga Desa, a region camp on the village. Camping Embun. Camping Embun means some of the farm in Banyuwangi doesn't have access to internet at all, and we camp in the village and we take all what they need and serve them offline based. That's the issue in here in Banyuwangi. Before we talk about the technology or any other services, how we penetrate the remote areas to bring the government service. How we going to serve the citizen without enough IT literacy? So we have to you have to close the gaps. We have to approach them in the way that we can make them easier to get the service. Next, please. So in the early stage of a government development, we provide that infrastructure using radio facilities. So we built the radio in every village so that we can make the internet works in that place. This is the first stage that we can serve them. It's not fancy. Sometimes we only can provide them 5 up to 10 Mbps, but at some place we can also have about 20 Mbps. But it works. At least it works. But during the time, we also deploy the broadband, the internet facility using cables in that place. It's not cheap. It's hardware. And also it is expensive too. And by time now we can access all the offices in the remote areas, 45 health services, health centers, 25 districts, and other services that in place in remote areas. Next. So all I can say that in Kominfo, in our agency, we have to understand our mandate first. So our mandate is digital transformation. As I said earlier, we are not smart city. We are not Bandung, we are not Jakarta, we are not Makassar, and of course we are not South Korea like Seoul and other places, Barcelona, of course. So we just have to understand our boundaries so that our tagline is Banyuwangi Smart Kampung. So we make the kampung in Banyuwangi smart. We provide internet, we provide facilities in there so that they can serve their citizens, their people. So the mission is how to provide a government in the district level, in the village level, and also how to provide public services like permit, papers, IDs, something like that. And now, both of these missions, both of them use digital certificate to secure the electronic transactions. But we have to understand that now our boundaries or our tagline that Banyuwangi is not smart city. Banyuwangi is smart kampung. We provide support that they are easier to reach effective for them, efficient for them, not the IT standard, for them to the remote areas and service points. Next. This is our timeline. I cannot say that this is exactly what happened, but at least I try to draw this to give us understanding about the progress in our Banyuwangi Smart Kampung and digital certificate implementations. We start this project in 2010 until 2008 or 2018 or 2019. So we built the infrastructure. We deploy the cables into the farthest area. We connect the areas. Office application has been developed since then. We start to prepare to integrate all the various applications in Banyuwangi. We used to be like an data silo. We understand that, but we try step by step to integrate it in one single application that we should call Smart Kampung. It is not successfully 100%, but we're still in progress. In 2019, we start digital certificate implementations. We make memorandum of understanding with BSSN, and at that time, payment in EPAT, we attach the documents for payments with digital certificate. Planning documents, we attach with the digital certificate. And we start the project of a office who elaborate mostly the documents in Banyuwangi. And then the second stage of implementation that we embrace, we elaborate larger applications to start to our ecosystem, payments, smart kampungs, planning and budgeting, and so on and so on. And we start to create our middleware, digital signature management. Why we create this? Because we deal with IT literacy. IT literacy that is not like in Bandung or in Jakarta or in Makassar. But we believe that they can play with the system. And that's why we make everything enable by using digital signature management. We approach them to use this so that digital certificate can be implemented in their documents. In the second stage, we also create or we have established a rule by Perbup. Perbup is government law that we create a regulation so that everything is based on regulations. The initiative is on regulations. And then we try to establish that so that the system works. In 2021, BSRA assessed us, make recommendations about their assessments. And then we follow that recommendations so that we can have a better middleware, a better implementation in digital certificate. We also start the initial signatures. Would you mind to zoom the material, please? Okay. In 2022, we massively close the technological gap. We understand that the fail rate is still high. So what is the problem? That's why in 2002, we cover all the places with disseminations. We identify the literacy problems and we explain to them. Explain to them so that they can have better understanding about how to use, how to implement digital certificate. We start user monitoring dashboard. So we understand why they fail. To prevent misuse also. To decrease sign fail rate. So these combinations, closing the technological gap and monitoring from dashboard, middleware also, so we can understand their problem and approach them with the better approach. Not only using the technology, but perhaps because they don't understand how to use the digital certificate. So we can understand the problems. And now, after 2002, we expect that we can make data protection from application using electronic sign. As you also aware that Indonesia hit by COVID in 2020. And everyone needs data from it. First of all, we try email OTP. But it's still, that's because we deal also with the literacy problem. They ask us to only protect the data by using sign, digital signatures. So we perhaps we can solve this problem because there's so many data in Banyuwangi Regency, and there's so many stakeholders that need the data not only for COVID, but others like in education, in health, in social. So we have to protect the document, the integrity of the document. So that's why in 2003, we state that we have to deal with this problem. Next. This is the application that integrates with digital certificate. We elaborate the digital certificate in these applications. Mostly public service. EPAP is payment. Citaru is special information system, so that before they can build their house, they can access this web to understand what best recommendation for them. Smart Kampung is multiple platform. Simpos means in information system for the permits issues. Land and building taxes and others. In A-Office, we provide Sikawan and others EGOV service using the digital certificate. So these 10 applications have been integrated and declared suitability and has been tested by BSSN. Next. Until today, we have 597 total active users of electronic certificates, and about 30.7 million electronic document has been issued for 3 years, 2019 until now. And in daily average, about 2,000 documents, 1,600 documents up to 2,000 documents in daily. So this is big business, especially for us. Next. This is our motto. This is our region. This is our region. They inspired us by telling us that Smart Kampung focus on service delivery, not just fancy technology, because the best design is the simplest one that works. This is our motto, inspired by our graduates, Ibu Fiestiandani. Next, please. This is our middleware. We also provide help desk with chatbot in Telegram. So when they have problems, they can tell us their problems using this middleware that will notify the officer in charge that day to solve the problem. So this is monitoring will connect to the person in charge for that day. Real-time basis. We also have monitoring logs that provide us what is the problem actually. This is very helpful, simple and very helpful to finding out the problems so they can be handled immediately. And it also provides us information about what is the type of their problems. Sometimes the problem is not about technology. Of course, some others about technology or the connection with BSSN server. But sometimes because they just don't know how to use this technology, but they urge to use this technology. So we have to close this technological gap by teaching them or training them how to use this program. On and on. Because once again, we are smart car. We don't rely on fancy technology, but rely to deliver the services. Next. This is our log monitoring for better outcome so that we can understand which agency have a better outcome, better documents assigned, or which agency has problem to use this so that we can solve the problems. It also shows us how many documents signed today, how many certificate use this application, and how many certificate that need to be revoked. Next. This is our help desk. They can fill the problems in here. They will respond. Our gold standard is about 2 up to 4 hours. So at least they will notify that why their service is not working. The user is monitored by a response team and notified when service trouble and when service has been solved. Next. This is our problem actually, but it is not just this problem, but we try to simplify the problem by these 3 problems. As you understand that now we have connected to BSSN server, and sometimes it lost. It takes a while, but sometimes it also takes a day, perhaps because they try to maintain the problems. We also deal with unequal IT literacy of users. We cannot just solve the problem using applications. We have to deal with that. We have to tackle these issues so that they can use in their places. They can serve. You have to understand in Banyuwangi, some village provide service in the night. Because in the day, we have to work. They're low-level income citizens, so that they can rely their income only work in days. So at that night, they need to serve. And the village officer can serve them in the night. That's why we need to monitor them. Which part of the village using this service in the night basis. So we have to protect them to misuse this technology. We also find that there are still in some institutions, I cannot say they refuse, but they don't use this digital signature effectively and efficiently. They have the digital certificate, but they don't use it properly. So we back again to our motto, obstacles do not block the path. They are the path that we have been. They are the path that we need to be through. So it makes us to realize that there's still some works in front of us to do. Next. In summary, we understand that this is an institutional level effort to cover the problems. We can't play this single-handedly. So we close the problem. We work the problems by using our understanding that they have problems, not because they have literacy issues. So technical guidance is we serve down to the village level. We come to them. We don't ask to them to come to us, nevertheless, using only application or help desk. But we come to them and explain to them how to make these things work. We also create middleware so that we can understand the problem better. But we also, step by step, try to implement this electronic signature in various public, even though there's infrastructure issues or any other issues that we have to take. We also now creating electronic document verifications apps so that public can check the validity and the authenticity of electronic documents. We are still in progress. We are not perfect. Thanks to BSRA, thanks to BSSN, thanks to any kind of help that will help us now so that we can stand in here gaining a better service to our citizens. But we understand that we still have plenty things to do. We can stop here because we are smart kampung and we are not smart city. Perhaps that's all I can say. Mbak Fatia Mustika, and we can continue this with in the discussions. Thank you, and that's all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Trijatmiko, for the insightful presentation. After the presentation, I know that digital transformation is still a challenge for Banyuwangi Regency. However, Banyuwangi is a smart kampung. So Banyuwangi really tries to provide support for digital services. Thus, the rural area can be reached and can be effective and efficient for the business process itself. Now we continue to the Q&A session. After the three speakers have delivered the presentation, the participant can ask to the speakers directly from the chat box. Actually, we already have some questions that is directed to the speakers. I will choose directly from the chat box. The first question is for Mr. Jonathan. From Mr. Mario Fernando. Mr. Jonathan, how do we verify the digital signature if the document is printing also? Maybe Mr. Jonathan, you can answer the question from Mr. Mario.
Yeah, I'll try to answer the question from Mr. Mario. Is my voices are clear, Mr. Fatia?
Yes, the sound is clear, Mr. Jonathan.
Now, in the digital transformation, our services is done by the electronic document, but in some case, there's a change of behavior that's usually in the licensing area where the people who's getting license or permission to able to get some permission from the government services usually send some document and receive some document. That's why in some part of the government services, digital services, is using e-signature bind with the QR code as bridging to get the digital document. So if they want to print those documents, usually we use those documents in their specific URL or specific QR code to get the digital document to be verified in the terms of digital signature contained on those documents. So if there are some documents that will be presented as a printout document, and the document stated that the document was digitally signed by BSSN, then we would recommend you to scan the QR code or get the digital form of the document to be able to be verified if there's any modification on the document, or if there's the document of the electronic signature of the document is valid, so we can know that the document is still valid or the document has been tampered. That's why in general, most of the digital document printed out are not being a part of the document verified in electronic signature, but being a part of how to get the digital version of the document. So the printout is not an electronic signature document, but the file that the printout stated in the QR code are the part of the document being signed by electronic signature.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan, for answering Mr. Mario's question. I hope Mr. Mario can be crystal clear about the information that have been given by Mr. Jonathan, and it can answer your question. The next, we have question also from Mr. Mario for Mr. Azhar. Why not use Srikandi? Perpres SPBE must use application from government and it cannot build same application for electronic letter or document. That's the question from Mr. Mario. Maybe Mr. Azhar can explain the answer to Mr. Mario.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fatia, and thank you, Mr. Mario, for the question. First of all, I think it's not only Ministry of Finance who has the same kind of application for mail or official letter systems. But aside from that, we have tried our best to conform with Perpres SPBE. But since there are several issues, such as our system is being developed and used long before Srikandi, I think, and there are a lot of interdependencies with our either with the common systems and the core systems with Nadine. And that's why our userness is still not provided in Srikandi. So moving to Srikandi will definitely cause a big risk to the current situations. But we are maintaining close communication with Andri and Kominfo regarding this issue. And I think there are several ways out to solve this with Andri and Kominfo, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Azhar, for responding to Mr. Mario's question. I hope that answers Mr. Mario's question and it will be crystal clear for Mr. Mario. The next one, we also have one question for Mr. Jonathan from Mr. Ares. The question is there any service from BSRI for the implementation of electronic certification for the non-government sector? For example, the commercial one. Maybe Mr. Jonathan can answer the question for Mr. Ares from Jakarta.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ares, for the question. So currently the Ministry of Communication and Information are regulating two kind of certification authority body. The ones are able to give its services to government agency and all its belongings. And the other one is dedicated to commercial services. While we are in the group of government agency, so we are currently only giving our services to any government bodies like ministry in the central government and also the local government either in the province, the city or the regency area. So for now, the ID-SIRTI cannot give our services to commercial bodies. So in this area, you would need, if you need to implement digital signature and electronic certificate in your services, we would recommend you use the other certification authority that registered in the Ministry of Communication and Information System.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan, for answering Mr. Ares' question. Now we move into our next question from Mrs. Nasser to Mr. Trijatmiko. The question is, do you have any suggestion for another region that are still difficult to access the internet to start using digital certificate for public service? Like first step to do or something that most needed to start it?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fatia Mustika. Let's say that the issue in here is how we close the gap. So, in our perspective, first of all, we have to provide infrastructure so that the technology can work. By optic cable, by radio, by any means. And it is costly, expensive. So that local government must deal with this issue with the village government, because in our business, in Indonesia, they have also the budget. So we have to share these budget problems with them. But in case that we have to work with some providers that willing to tackle that issues, so we have to subsidize them. In our case, we work with power plant company, PLN, that they are willing to provide the cable service provider, internet service provider, that they can, using their poles, their cables, to cut the expenses. But it costs much more than other internet service providers, so that sometimes we have to subsidize the village level government using our budget. Or in Banyuwangi, the next strategy is we provide pasar layanan publik. Pasar layanan publik means in village, they usually go to market. Some villages have Monday market. Some village has Friday market. Some village has other market. So we have pasar layanan publik. So we provide them not mall layanan publik. In Banyuwangi, it's also have mall layanan publik, mall, but also serve as a public service point. But we deliver the service into the pasar, in the market. So they can go to the nearest service point without using too much money, or it costs effective rather than they have to go to Banyuwangi as a central government. But it is also a matter of strategy. In the remote areas, providing the infrastructure is a must. But if we don't have enough money, we have to extend the budget or divided the budget into the perhaps 5 terms, year terms, or 10 years terms until the problem is solved. But we have to provide the infrastructure. The budget can be reshared or shared by local government and municipal government like us, or maybe they are a rich village and also have the capacity to deploy that infrastructure, or in our case, we deliver the service at market level. We call that pasar layanan publik or market service point. At the nearest point that they can access. But if there are still problems, we provide them offline-based service or online-based service by delivering the service into their place, to their areas. We call that camping embun. Usually they spend the night at the remote areas, and they can get their documents not by going to the municipal city, but it takes a lot of effort to do that. But if we choose that strategy, just because our region told us that that's the sacrifice that we have to give to serve our citizens better. That's my point. Perhaps Mbak Fatia Mustik.
Thank you, Mr. Trijatmiko, for answering Ms. Nesar's question. I hope that answers Ms. Nesar's question for now. Now we will move into the next agenda. That is okay, I can continue. That's the end of our presentation session. Now we will move into the summary of today's webinar. The summary of today's webinar is that electronic certificate really plays a big part in the digitalization of the business process of an organization, because it can really accelerate the administration process within one organization and the others. It can be effective, efficient, and also very secure business process. However, the challenges are still there and it still needs to be overcome by us. And also, if the challenges are still there, we can connect to BSRA as the central CA in Indonesia to give the solution for the problems it has. And now I would like to hear the closing statement from the three speakers today. We will start the closing statement from Mr. Jonathan from the BSRA. Mr. Jonathan, the time is yours for giving the closing statement.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Fatia. So my closing statement is the digital transformation is an era of disruptive. So we cannot go back to the past, but we can go to the future, and we can also lead this generation with a better public services in the next year. So I think the digital transformation is a must, and it's an enable the good public service in Indonesia.
Thank you, Mr. Jonathan, for the closing statement. I agree with you. And the next, we move into our second speaker, Mr. Azharuddin. You may give your closing statement.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Fatia. So probably my closing statement would be, I think, yeah, from this talk, we can agree that electronic certificate indeed plays a great role in digital transformation in each of our organization in government. There are challenges, there are problems, but I'm sure with coordination, with helping each other, with this kind of event, actually, like sharing knowledge to each other, will definitely broaden our knowledge, broaden our mind to help each other to have a great result in the future. So I think that's all, my closing statement. Thank you, Ms. Fatia.
All right, thank you, Mr. Azharuddin, for the closing statement. Now we move into our third speaker, Mr. Trijatmiko. You may give your closing statement, sir.
Yes, thank you. In level local government level, problem is there. Either we like it or not. The choice is we can choose the fancy technology or we close the technological gap. It any means we can do. And sometimes it takes a lot of hard work and effort and dissemination and so on and so on. But we believe that citizen-oriented service is our motto, and Smart Kampung is our best option to serve our citizens better. Perhaps that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Trijatmiko, for the closing statement, and I agree with you that Banyuwangi is indeed a smart kampung. Now, for the participant, the question that haven't been answered today by the speakers can be sent through the email on info@id-SIRTI.org.id to get the questions answered by the speakers by the next time. Now we have come to an end of the webinar today. I am more than grateful to have Mr. Jonathan, Mr. Azharuddin, and also Mr. Trijatmoko to attend the event today and to answer the curiosity and also the confusion from all of the participants that have attended the webinar today also. And also I would like to thank the participants to join the meeting today and to also to ask the question for the three speakers here. Also, don't forget to fill in the attendance and also survey link uploaded on the chat column to get the e-certificate for today's webinar. Before we end our webinar today, we will take the photo from our Zoom today. We have 5 slides on Zoom, so we will take 5 pictures today. And I will, please smile on my mark. Starting from the first slide. When I count to 3, please smile on the camera and my friend will take the picture. So begin from the first slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, next to next slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, we move to the third slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Next, we move to the fourth slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Finally, we come to the end slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. All done. Thank you for the participation today. See you on our next webinar and also our next workshop by the Id-SIRTI CC of Indonesia. Goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Miss Fatia, Pak Jonathan.
Thank you, Asad.